Satnam, namaste. We're going to go straight into this. I love you. It's channel Oneness after I hit the record button. All right, Oneness. I have to do that so I can have an external recording in case things don't back up properly. Oh, shoes. Hang on. Can't do shoes. Give me a second. Boots going off. No shoes.
Be grounded.
Yeah, shoes. It doesn't work. All right. Shoes, they're gone. Okay. What is true now is forever true, true throughout all time and eternity, forever and ever. We are ready for your inquiry.
It is an honor to connect with you today. May we start with the first question. What is the definition of oneness?
That was just shared. Oneness is that which is true now, throughout all time and eternity, forever and ever. You believe that time begins with a capital letter or a lower letter. When you are in oneness, it is capitalized. All of your experiencing, and then all that is without. Oneness is all that is within and all that is without. When it is no longer separated, when there is no longer any aspect of you that is not considered God, you are in oneness.
And how can we experience that for at least just a moment?
Listen. Slow your breath. Slow your heartbeat. Slow down in your doing. Breathe within your being until all emotions are gathered within you. Until all is full, all is whole, all is complete, and there are no missing dots. Just slow down. Just observe yourselves with your breath. Observe what you wish to feel before you wish to speak. Observe what you wish to feel before you wish to think. Observe what God within you wishes to feel before God performs an action in your external circumstances. When you observe circumstances that hurt, observe them with love and forgiveness until the observer becomes the observed. God is being and becoming in you and outside of you until there is no discernment between two, and the two become one.
Thank you for that beautiful message. If there is a message for those who are beginning to wake up and are having problems making a connection with their higher beings, such as guides and higher self and ascended masters, what's in our highest and best for the coming of 2019?
The nature of your question travels through the vast mind of a multidimensional channel. Choose one question in one breath.
Can we please ask if there is a message for those who are beginning to wake up now?
Observe your dream. You are aware that you are sleeping. Then why try to eliminate the dream? Why try to extricate yourselves from the beauty of the circumstances that you have created, the beautiful palette upon which you paint? Observe all of the beautiful colors, accepting them all, and when you cannot, forgiving them all. Observe your dream until you shall become the observed, and until you are aware that you can wake up whenever you choose. Just the nature of wonder can help the observer become the observed, and the observed hold no distinctive differences between the observer and the observed. Enjoy your dreams. This involves, if you wish to awaken, eliminate shame. This is step one. Guilt is helpful because it reminds you that you are off track and out of alignment with your natural nature in the way that you wish to dream, the way that you have chosen to dream when you began to believe in time. You created your own nature upon which you dream. You chose the colors that grace your paintbrush. And then, when you shame yourself for choosing such colors, all of the colors began to mute together to the point where there is nothing but gray. This is shame. Shame is the in-between color of gray that you are not observing, the background palette, the script in your mind that runs on endlessly. When you feel guilty, observe such guilt before it turns into shame and ask yourselves, how am I out of alignment with my true divine nature in this moment? Perhaps you are being unloving to yourselves. Perhaps you're being unloving to your bodies. Perhaps you are working too hard in your careers. Perhaps you are exercising too hard or too little. Perhaps you are forcing yourselves to take care of others before you take care of your own basic bodily needs. Start there, for observing the body can grant a bridge to the heart, so that the heart is then observed throughout every cellular nature of you. Every cell within you breathes in oneness when you allow yourselves to feel, and to feel simultaneously with the breath. This is the second step in your awakening, as you may call it. The third step is to release all judgments of yourselves and others. Simply observe when you are in competition with others or yourselves. Simply observe when you do not understand the nature of your brothers and sisters in oneness, that you would roll up your bridge as if it is a drawbridge, pulling it back quickly to the point that the drawbridge is not even slow. They feel the nature of your withdrawal, and then they mistake your need for oneness as a separation, as a betrayal of such. Compassion is the cure. Compassion is the bridge. If you need to retract yourselves into your spiritual practices, do so with compassionate explanations, not overly so, but certainly not minimally. Speak your truth compassionately to the brothers and sisters of God in your families, in your friendship circles, in all of your circles. Would it matter if you were more compassionate or less compassionate with a coworker? If perhaps you do not prefer them? It may. It matters to their gentle hearts. And if oneness is true, they are you. And would you speak upon them in a way that shamed, judged, or separated you from you? Speak upon all with compassion. Operate in this dignity without taking accountability, but while being compassionately responsible as God for everything that you say and everything that you are, everything that you do. The fourth step in awakening is removing yourself from all attachments that separate you from God. These are bodily attachments, emotional attachments. You have called them spiritual attachments or entities. You can remove that as well if you wish. Do so with compassion. This could be a substance, a food. It could be the nature of your devices and your addiction to them. The channel once taped her scrolling thumb. And then she had no need to be addicted to her phone. It was a funny little trick, but this is what worked for her, because it made her laugh every time she wished to feel overly accountable to the beings inside of her device. Sometimes just drop your phones where they land. Softly, please. We are aware that your technologies keep you connected to each other. But place your phones down and walk away. Walk away at least 2 hours prior to your sleeping. Walk away. 2 hours upon your awakening before you look at such devices. Walk away. If you're upset with your emotions that seem to be controlled by your devices, walk away. Now, as you go into the next year, you are in a very interesting time of transcending. And in certain parts of the world, you are electing new leaders, both politically and in your religions and cultures. This is a time to be less focused on what you believe counts and more focus on what actually counts. Your voices that you wish to be heard when you drop a vote into a machine. The voices inside. The change only occurs when your voice is heard inside of yourself, and your ballots matter not until then. And we are not here to give advice about your upcoming elections, about your choices in systems in a dream world. But we are here to ask you to choose wisely. Do not shame others who do not choose at all in the voting process. Do not judge them for their choices, because their choices are in their hearts. Do not judge them to be slothful or irresponsible, as you are doing so in your minds and in your hearts all around the world. When your spiritual leaders are not becoming activists, you judge them. Release those judgments, forgive yourselves, and forgive them. It is time to let it all go. Let go. Let God just be. None of the ballots will matter unless you cast your votes in your hearts.
There are many who struggle with their religious programming of guilt and fear. Can you give some words of wisdom regarding this, please?
Perhaps we can quote one of your beautiful literary gods. Perhaps you can figure out who we are quoting. My God is in the trees, my pulpit, the fallen tree, my sermon, the birds. Emily Dickinson. Why do you struggle with something that is within a dream system? You can create your own dream. Nature is the closest God that can connect you to you. Start there. Whatever follows will simply be a practice within a spiritual realm, and it would not be a religion. It would be the bridge between the sound of God within you and the sound of your body as your heart beats, the sound of your breath as your lungs exhale, the divine sound current opening through all of your cellular nature. This is the science of God. Through the divine scripts from your ancient beings who are in silence, and when they open their mouths, they chant the names of God. The thousands and thousands of names of God within your dream, they chant. Nature does the same. This channel honors the Vedas and honors the birds and honors the heartbeat of the land, merging with her own. There are many ways to find God, and God does not have far to get to you. When your hearts are breaking wide open, place them upon the altar of one. For mending, for healing, for wholeness. And let the sound of nature heal the hearts within you. Shamans, when you are crying out, weeping for the collectives, know so that you are blessed. All practices around the world, when you honor your practice, you honor yourselves. When your practice becomes unloving, it becomes religion, and then you dishonor yourselves. You have a choice now. Just observe, is your practice loving or not? Is it honoring you or not? Is it serving you or not?
would you be able to explain the heaven and hell that so many believe in?
They are dreams that you have created. When shame is out of hand, you create a rather exorbitant dream to punish yourselves. And you do this until it no longer serves. And when you are at the gates of hell and fire burns your very core, the ego burns, the karma releases. And this is the way that you have chosen to release even the concept that karma exists. And you wish to burn all of this accumulated memory that has served you or hasn't throughout your dream of time. And when there is an over-accumulation of shame in your memories, you create a holding cell in a dream that you call hell. And you burn these memories as a methodical way, a science of release, until shame is no longer relevant. And until you can feel your inner nature. You burn until you weep. You cry until you weep and call out for God. This is the science that occurred upon the cross. When your divine one, Jesus, cried and said, "My Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" This was the cry of a dying ego. And this is the method that you have chosen, the science of transmutation. While it is, again, a rather dramatic dream that you've chosen, it has functioned well, at least in the moment of the dreaming. But when you awaken, you realize that its function is no longer needed. And then you begin to question everything. And this is the first step in truth. When you are seeking eternity, wonder not if you will suffer. Simply wonder what is. Hell is not in some far-off place. You are creating your heaven or your hell right now. Because believe us, oneness did not dream this dream of earth. This is your dream. You are the sons and daughters of Source, dreaming together, and God knows nothing of such dream. And yet you cry out for God, and who you are really crying out for is yourself. You can create the dream of heaven if you wish, right here on earth, and you are doing so as a new methodology of awakening that you have called ascension. But there is nowhere to go. You are home. And you have asked us, how shall we live? And how shall we practice? Live as if you have all of the lives in the world. Many, many lives. Live like a cat. Meditate as if you have no more time. Meditate as if it is highly pertinent to do it now, as if time is gone. And you thought we would say it the other way around. You would not live as if you were dying. You have many lives, and you always have. Know this. Live as if you are living. Meditate as if the body is leaving. The channel is aware of this message and is biding her time closely.
How can we all raise our vibration to become one and ascend as one?
It is apparent with the breath. It is not a knowledge. It is not something that you can read in a text, in your sacred scripts. It is not often, unless you are following the practice of the jnani, and within Brahmacharya, this is the nature of releasing attachments. If you wish to walk the path of oneness, release attachments first, for within every attachment is the foundation of a judgment. This is the easy way. When you honor the body, the mind stops. And then when the mind starts again, it begins upon every inhale and exhale of breath. God is not knowledge. God arises from the eternity, from the everything that is nothing. Be still, children, and know that you are God.
Dear Oneness, I feel like I've found most answers to questions about this existence. I don't get triggered by the outside world. I always have everything I want and need. Is this what you call bliss?
This, dear one, is called contentment. Ask for much more. When you are operating upon the precipice of divine ecstasy, there will be no question what you are feeling, for you will be in bliss always. And then, at times, it is within the human experience, even upon enlightenment, to feel the depth of every emotion. Oneness has been misinterpreted. Upon enlightenment, when one reaches the realization of oneness, there is an immense state of bliss. It comes, goes, and then comes, and it goes. In your yogic practices, you have called this the samadhi. It is not meant to always be. This is a quickening. And as the trees blow in the wind, when the wind ceases, the ground is honored and the tree becomes still. In divine moments of contentment, unity, oneness, flow, when you are being and becoming throughout all of your states of doing, guided by breath, guided by the universal heartbeat of divine sound current within you throughout your very cellular nature. There is too much heat. Within the body of the channel.
Is the channel okay to continue?
She must release, turn down the device that controls the air in the building.
Okay. We're asking the assistant to do that now.
It is in the center of the building, on a column. We can guide him through thought. It is there. No, left, right there.
Are you okay to continue then?
Yes.
Thank you.
We thank you.
We know that we are speaking to oneness as a collective thought of everything that we are. But I would like to ask, what voice or collective is representing oneness with us today?
There is nothing behind the nature of oneness. We are the nothing that perpetuates the everything. There is not one race or species or group of beings that is before. But there are many that are after, namely the Arcturians.
That is what we thought, so thank you. Are we affected by our past lives?
We shall put at you a unique example throughout your body. Do you, facilitator, remember your great-great-great-grandmother?
No, I don't.
Her eyes are on your face. And this is how the nature of past affects you. There is a genetic structure in your cellular nature that causes your bones to creak. And this is an accumulated memory throughout a fractal of oneness that is her, which is also you. Do you understand memory?
I do.
It's physiological in nature, and this is why the deepest message that we share today is to honor your bodies. Breathe into your bodies. Find a practice that allows for breath. Qigong, shamanic breath, the kriyas, in a yogic practice, anything where you honor your breath. Matters not what it is. But in order to release accumulated memories that are affecting the body, yes, start there, for it is what you notice first. The mind holds an intellectual memory that is quite tricky, that can cause your death, can cause your suffering. Do not start there. Do not start with belief, particularly the negative ones, for they hold a frequency that perpetuates shame, causing the cloud of suffering to prevent your transcension. Start with the body, guided by the breath. Every morning in your practice, when you are guided by breath, the emotions that no longer serve you, the beliefs that are accumulated lifetime after lifetime, will be exhaled, released, forgiven. This will happen naturally in your practice. This is why there was such a huge shift in the channel. Do you understand now?
I do. Thank you very much for that beautiful answer.
We are aware that you do, dear facilitator. We ask the world, do you understand now the path of the yogi, the path of the jnani, the path of the brahmachari? The Brahmin has made deep sacrifice on your behalf. Thank you for observing it. And while following your own paths, choosing to honor teachings as they shall arise in your hearts, leaving those that do not, as with any practice, oneness will be apparent to you when you are ready. But until then, you suffer. Why suffer by continuing to play in the mind field? And this is a play upon words. You're in a minefield, walking precariously through your minds. wondering why things blow up. Forget the mind. Stop thinking. Honor the breath. Honor the body.
Is that how we truly heal an illness or an imbalance in the body?
You have it accurately.
Is there anything else we could use? Maybe visualize light to help aid healing within the body?
A visualization is a thought process that is not wise to start there. Start with what created you, and that is the Word of God, the sound, which is divine, that created the form which you now see, for you would not have sight without sound. Sing yourself one of the many, many thousands of names that you have created for God, and sing to your bodies. Sing for the cessation of thought. Sing while you are breathing, for if you're singing, you are breathing God's word and reciting the names of God.
And can you share how one can preserve the physical body once one has experienced enlightenment?
You must know the tricks of the body through the nature of Kriya, which is a practice that many of the ancients had created. Honor it. Connect the body with the breath in these unique ways. Many of your masters have taught you this. Jesus, Isa, Yogananda, Yukteswar, Nanak, many, many, many Maharshi, many, many, many gods and bodies came to teach you these ancient practices of the Kriyas. Why do you believe the channel made such a significant shift in her teachings to you? For it is not good to just channel, to just be. Merging is better. And she will now teach you this. Kriyas, the merging of the breath in the body, will keep the body alive. Otherwise, the body will fall away, which is natural after enlightenment. It requires much effort upon enlightenment to keep the body in its form. You do so by breath, by observing the pranic nature of your food, of your water, of your feet upon the earth, of your air and your breath, and breathing in the sunlight, letting sound current be your food eventually when you are ready. Till then, start with your physical food, enlightened ones. Release the foods that decay your systems. If you took a slab of meat or a piece of cheese and you placed it in a warm area that was approximately 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and you left it there for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, what do you believe would occur? It dies. Your body is a heat factory. These foods will die and rot in your system. This is not prana, this is death, and you wonder why you are dying. Stop eating the foods that are death. Do not eat things with emotions, for if those are not things, Those are beings of God. And if you absolutely feel that you must, for some lacking in a negative belief system that currently owns you, release the belief system, and until you can, bless your food. Move up the chain of pranic foods, going next into cooked vegetables as you can, whole foods, whole grains. Move up the pyramid next into raw vegetables and raw fruits of all kinds. Move up the pyramid next into simple fruits alone of all kinds, releasing the need for vegetables. And then next, eat only one fruit at a time. Perhaps all day, perhaps days, weeks, months. And when you are ready, you will have moments of capability to go into fruit juices. Apple and lemon is preferable. Small amount of lemon, a lot of pressed apples, juiced, whole. Many are well. Fruit juices and water and your herbal teas are the next step. And then when you are ready, you will go into water and teas and honey. And then when you are ready, you will go into water and lemon. And then you will have moments in time where you can go with no water and no food. When you are ready is the key. This is not permanent. There are many stages throughout your development where you will return to food when necessary. And when you're ultimately ready, you will be nourished by air, earth, sun, moon, sound. And then upon this point, you will no longer require a body. But if you wish to maintain it, you must take a few steps down into the juices and waters and gentle herbs that cleanse your systems. Going back up into pranic breathing for food, pranic living at all levels when wanted, and then when needed, in order to keep the form, returning to the juices, raw fruits and vegetables as needed, never to return to the decaying, rotting foods. Food should take no longer than 2 hours to pass through your system. Eat one, and if you do not have a gentle bowel movement within 2 hours, you are aware that this is not the food for you. By the process of elimination, you will determine how you are physiologically structured in your accumulated memory and what foods work for you and what foods don't. The advice that we've listed is for the path of the Brahmin, the path of the yogi, the path of the jnani, the path of the shaman, the path of the monk, the path of oneness.
Thank you very much for that very detailed answer. Is it possible for a human to be completely enlightened and living among us? What is most important to learn, teach, or do once true enlightenment has been achieved?
We have provided the instruction for what to do once true enlightenment has been achieved throughout the nature of this communication. It is possible, and it is true, and there are a few that are here. Many of you are dabbling with the nature of oneness and then becoming afraid of it and saying to yourselves, oh, I cannot do that. I have a third dimensional life and I do not wish to be taken from it. But remember, your path of oneness this time is to go within, merging your bodies, quickening your bodies. Enlightenment is different. This is an exciting time where you're on the precipice of holding all the tools, all of the resources that you need, you finally have. You have observed this channel, return to oneness, return to enlightenment, and you have observed her struggle with the body, and you are now observing the nature of immortality as it arises. And if she, within her belief systems, chooses to stay upon this planet, then this experiment will be wholeness, a merging of body with sound, a unique ascension. And there are those upon this planet that you've observed do the same. Many monks in Tibet, honoring the energy of their electromagnetic bodies, physiologically becoming one with such. You observe your prophet Babaji walking around in many forms today. 2 to be exact, that he chooses simultaneously. You observe this with your beloved Jesus or Yeshua or Yahweh. You have had many names for the same being. All of these beings are the same being, showing you over and over again that it can be done. And this channel will do the same the moment she chooses. And if she does not choose, then her body will fall away. It is a very pertinent choice that she is straight in the middle. For after enlightenment, you must choose to quicken your bodies, and if you do not, it will fall away. Choose wisely. We have given you all of the instructions to quicken your body, and it begins with breath, food, prana, observing your pranic energy intake at all times. But if you are not there, if you are not walking in oneness, or if at least you are not observing that you are, for it is not possible to not be in oneness, you simply do not observe it yet. If you are believing that you are not in oneness at this time, honor your bodies. Start there. And remember, forget the negative, tricky beliefs of the mind. It will trick you into believing that something is wrong all the time. And we believe that this has not been serving your spiritual practice. Honor the shadow of yourself. Love it. And then let go.
As human beings, there are many things that we struggle with here on earth, and one of them are finances and of being abundant. How can we develop a better relationship with material things such as money?
You can't start there. You can't climb the Himalayas if you don't appreciate being at its base, honoring your every breath, accumulating to your earthly environments, for it is not natural for you to be here. You will be cared for, but you have many attachments that require release. You have many things that you say and claim that you need that you do not. And yet you say you are not abundant when you do not have what you believe is a basic, but is it really? Observe the practices in your daily lives. Do you have food? Do you have shelter? Are you warm and safe from the winds and the rains of your planet? Do you have 3 items to clothe yourselves? Do you have meals for this day only? For oneness will provide. Start there. Do you have the light of the sun? Do you have the warmth of the wood in your forest? Technology has taught you something. As you have infused it with much accumulated memory, you have not used it to connect more deeply. You have used it to convince yourselves that you need more. The cry and the call of more is the beckoning of ego. Do not start there. If you have all of the things that we have listed, which oneness provides, then you are abundant. Start there and then honor the breath, the divine sound current, the many names of God within you. And be joyful. Laugh from your belly, which engages your breath. Eat the foods that Mother Earth provides you, which allows and sustains you. And eat only those foods that love the body, that serve the body. Start there. Start with your spiritual practice of honoring the breath, honoring divine sound, honoring the stillness in mind, releasing judgments, releasing attachments, and then creativity will arise. Your true divine nature, all of your abilities, all of your beautiful creative talents will arise and they will feed you. And then you will serve others who are not fed. Then your beautiful gifts will feed the world, and then the world will feed you. Do you understand?
Thank you. I know many will benefit from that answer. But how would you say one can find our life purpose?
It is simple. You are here to love. You are an extension of God's love, and you are here to return to wholeness, to become aware that you are one, to see God by loving each other. And that is where you begin, knowing that you have that collective purpose and starting with these instructions. All other creative purposes will arise, but purpose is not a state of doing. Purpose is not your job, your means of flourishing and nourishing yourselves. Purpose is not your goal, your hobby, your action. Purpose is not your gift. All of that allows you to act and respond and to do as God would do. But first you must be as God is. And then purpose will naturally arise. Yet you block yourselves often when you say, oh, I shall not waste time on painting. I shall not waste time on singing or chanting to God in me. I shall not waste time in meditation. That is the nature of the block. That is the only block to God. The nature that something that isn't real can even be wasted.
Among the many wonderful subjects you have shared with us, what are the top lessons you would wish for us to learn?
Love and be loved. Forgive the shame that is vast upon your planet and so deeply rooted in yourselves. Start at home. You are concerned about Gaia. We feel within universal heartbeat your weeping for the lands. Yet you are not concerned about your very own body, your very own nature. Start there and then extend it locally. If you wish to be an activist, do so in your home. Do so in your relationships. Do so everywhere, in your town, in your city, in your province. Stop weeping for Gaia. She does not weep for you. She holds you safely while you dream a terrible dream of weeping and suffering, which is no longer relevant for her expansion. So why do you weep for her? Start with you. For if oneness is true, everything that you do for your bodies, for your very hearts, for your muscles and sinew that make up the building blocks of matter within these bodies, will extend further and further into the entire world. One breath of an enlightened being shared with just one being can affect 1/3 of your population. And yet you say the enlightened ones do nothing. We do everything from nothing.
Thank you, that was beautiful. I know you talk about the breath and about chanting, but what type of music or other frequencies can we use to awaken our natural abilities?
Many masters upon your planet have taught you these sacred texts and sacred syllables throughout the course of your dream. They are not hard to find. Many of your teachers of meditation, many yogis, all around the world, many shamans, many Qigong masters, many of your teachers all around the world, many of the gurus have shared, many of the rishis, many of the Sufis. It is there for your taking and is taught through this channel, all of it, step by step. And you continue to say, what will bring me there? The teachings are there and continue to be there and continue to expand. In this yogi, in this enlightened one, and in many enlightened ones, both living and transcended. It is all there. It is there in your Sanskrit languages. It is there in the Vedas. It is there in the writings of the Essenes. It is there in the ancient Apocrypha. It is there in every sacred text that you have written. Somewhere. And you are all creative beings, multidimensional sons and daughters of God. So every teaching will land upon you differently. Choose which one is serving you. It is not a matter of which one is best or which one is right. You will know.
Would you be able to talk about what we can expect when we transition from this earth plane? And where our loved ones go when they transition? What awaits them?
If we honor the nature of the time that you are honoring at this time, then we would not have time. In other words, you all are dreaming, and the dreams are different. Some of you are dreaming that you go to hell, and you indeed go there, until you become vulnerable in oneness and realize that it is not true. Some believe in reincarnation, and then you do. Some believe that you must rest, and then you do. Some believe that you must guide others that are still living, and then you do. How can we tell you one thing that you do when you are being creative, multidimensional aspects of God? And each of those dreams are different. For until you either merge with the body or ascend away from it, then all is a dream.
And may we ask, what is the highest and best for all in the year 2019, as 2018 is drawing to a close?
Releasing greed, avarice, and the tragedy of competition. This arises in your political systems, in your religions, in your work practice, in your churches. It is still quite alive. This death module that permeates all these systems, you are living off of it until it kills you. Join together in your hands and hearts in your local communities. Be activists of your family, under your roofs. Be activists in your neighborhood. And if you cannot handle that, go deeper into meditation until you can. Then when you are ready, be locally active. But first and foremost, be an activist in your own heart. You, at this stage in your evolution, have no control over your broken system of your nations. Recognize it and walk far away.
Thank you for all the beautiful information and guidance you gave us today. Is there
Our
anything?
advice about that did not win the popular vote.
I think it will bring great understanding to many. So thank you.
Enlightenment is not popular. Enlightened ones, you will be judged for this notion. Send love to those who are judging.
Is there anything else you'd like to share before closing the session today?
Did you see a rishi, a Sufi, a guru, an ancient guru, a prophet step into a vote? Did you see them check yes or no to each candidate that represents a different version of God, as if the other candidate is lesser by his choosing? Have you seen this? That is all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now when the channel is ready, we ask if you can please return. Welcome back. Thank you.
Satnam. Namaste. I love you.
Love you
For
too.
those of you seeing me in person this weekend, I look forward to it. Thank you, Chrysilla.
You're welcome. And thank you everyone for your amazing questions. So thank you.
Bye.